Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble. Acta non verba is the motto of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point, New York. I had appointments to Naval Academy and Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy. And Merchant Marine Academy's motto was acta non verba. In other words, don't listen to what a person says. Watch what they do. Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learn from you. So congratulations.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added, I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees. And now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrive Time, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. So I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement, how to help you guys implement the SEO. And the coaching is just great because there's accountability, and it's just a fantastic way to grow your company. Having a relationship with Thrive Time it's just been amazing for MultiClean. Oh my goodness, it frees me up because then I don't have to take a class on search engine optimization or learn marketing or shoot video. That's not what we do. What we do is commercial janitorial service. And you guys are the experts on marketing, and you teach me and hold my hand and show me how to do it right. And therefore, now my company is much, much larger.
Folks, on today's show, we're joined by a real client. He may look like a male model. He may look like a hologram, but he's a real person. He's a longtime client. He's a man that we consider to be a friend of the Thrive Time Show and a friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Kevin. Welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Clay, I'm doing great. Had a great Christmas holiday, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so first question, can you tell us what is your name, first and last name, and what's the name of your company, sir?
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas.
And how long have we worked with you approximately at this point, sir?
It's been about 6-7 years.
We always look forward to our Fridays getting together and get our mind fed, get a little irritated, get a little frustrated, maybe even a couple laughs.
Yep.
I think it's important for people, if you watch this show, to know that over the course of a year, the goal is that you'll probably be taking a few less pharmaceutical drugs.
Yep.
You'll probably be eating dinner as a family together. You probably pay off some debt. You might even lose a couple of pounds.
Make more money.
And you won't know exactly what day it happened. But another thing is your performance at your job will be better, and maybe kind of work your way out of having one and step into this realm called an entrepreneur. We have a guest every Friday, wrote a book called How to Build a Successful Business, and dozens of other books as well, an endless rabbit hole of greatness. The one, the only, from the Thrive Time Show, Clay Clark.
Yeah! Welcome.
Greetings. I will tell you, for anybody watching today's show, I am a complete failure and a non-success if I do not complete the waterfall before the September 25 and 26 business conference featuring Eric Trump. For anybody out there that has tickets, I promised your viewers, I promised my audience, I've said we're going to have a second waterfall fully constructed. And now, Dave, because of the seating arrangements, we are completing the upper deck. And so we are adding more seating here. So all this will be up. It'll be in place here and on September 25, 26. We had a sellout. And I talked to the builder and I said, can we accommodate, what can we get, maybe 30 more people? He says, let's do it. So Greg has started procuring the materials. It's ready to go. And so right now, for the final 30 tickets that we sell, your seats do not exist yet. We have 4 VIP tickets left and 26 non-VIPs. And those are theoretical seats that we're building right now, Dave. You've seen the office. You've seen the...
Yep.
We're adding 26 more upper deck seats and 4 more VIP seats. So I will not be a success if I allow my life to drift and I do not complete the task of getting the waterfall and the extra seating, Dave.
And I'll throw this out too. The flyer there says 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Clay really starts at 7.
Yes.
That's not like a soft open 7. That's not like announcements are running in the background. There's not a 20-minute worship service that you can kind of have a fluff entrance into. That is a 7 a.m. He's off to the races. And I guarantee you one thing. At 9 a.m., you will check your watch and you'll be like, I thought it was lunch already. Like 9 a.m. is like shockingly, you feel like you've gotten an entire day's worth of value on that first day.
At lunch, you're going to say, is this time to go home?
Yeah, like we got to be done already, right? And he's like, no, I got a whole afternoon ready to go.
And at the same time, it is so entertaining and it goes by so quickly. Like truly, when you are there, you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe how fast this day went. He could have a llama up there. You never know.
True.
He could have a mariachi band.
Yep.
You never know. I mean,
Almost
I
guarantee it.
haven't seen the alligator, but I've heard at one point there was an alligator. I mean, it will be a very entertaining day.
And there's Clay.
And there's Clay, and you are going to learn a ton. It is so much fun.
There's helicopter rides. There's ice sculpture things. It's a palooza of awesomeness for sure. Yeah, you can see his place there. And I'll say this too. It says no upsells, no get rich quick schemes, anything like that. When you see the price there, I've been to a lot of seminars, a lot of business conferences. A lot of times that price range is like, oh, we're going to get you in the door at this price. And then they're like, now, if you really want to learn the secrets, that will cost you about $5,000. We got this other event coming up in 6 weeks. It's like this heavy-handed arm bar pitch. You know, you're getting your arm snapped off from behind while somebody sells you this like massive package. That is it. That is the price.
That is the massive package.
That
That's
is the
big
massive
payoff.
package. And he gives you everything that you need to know. There's a whiteboard. You can ask questions. It's one of the best business we wouldn't be pitching it if it wasn't one of the best business conferences we've ever attended. We've attended a lot of business stuff, a lot of conferences, a lot of seminars. This is the number one.
We get.
Yep.
Dave, I want to point out something here. Maybe your producer could zoom in here.
Okay.
This is the map of
snap.
the, if you go to Branson, if you go to Silver Dollar City, they have a map they give you. This is a new thing. When you grab a seat, you're going to have a map, and you'll notice here there's an area for this is called the male only urination station. You'll be able to pee in the woods if you're a man there. We've got that. I've labeled the parking as not enough parking. It's the not enough parking lot. We never have it. We have like 35 parking spaces, and we have 600 people coming. We got the helicopter launching pad. We've got the new waterfall. There's a lot going on here, but we're going to be passing these out to people as well, so you'll be able to kind of walk around and find one of the 5 fire pits or water features. It's gonna be a great time there, Dave.
I like it.
Awesome.
It looks like when you first held it up, I thought it might be that's the laminated sheet that Andy Reid has on the sideline. That he's
We're calling his plays.
That or like a combination like a Waffle House menu. I couldn't tell what that was exactly, but it's got a lot of action. Clay, I want to start with something right out of the gate. I want to get your reaction to something. Now, this coming from a comedy guy. He's my new favorite up and coming comedian. His name is Dusty Slay. He's been on the John Chris podcast recently, and he's kind of making the rounds. He lays out a financial predicament that a country band named Brooks and Dunn found themselves in. I want to see how you would coach this scenario onto a correct path of greatness, because there's probably not a lot of our listeners, but there's a percentage of them that might be in this space. If you've been listening to the show for a couple of years, you probably have moved out of this, but this might apply to a percentage of them. And if you listen to country music in the 90s at all,
you'll know this song.
like we did, you'll know this song. But Clay, listen to this closely, and let me get like 3 coaching tips that you would apply to this situation.
There's a song by Brooks and Dunn called Hard Working Man. Big fan of that, Hard Working Man. And I don't know if you've heard that one before, but I'd like to tell you about it. I'd like to talk to you about it. He starts the song off. He says, I'm a hard-working man, just lays it out there for you. You should know who he is, how he likes to work, But he's singing, though, too. He's like, I'm a hard-working man, which is not a bad impression if you've never heard Brooks and Dunn. And then he says, I wear a steel hard hat. He wants you to know he takes safety very serious. Wears a hard hat, doesn't mess around with plastic. It's steel for this guy. Loves this hat, wears it all the time. Then he says, I can ride, rope, hammer, and paint. 4 things that you don't really need a hard hat for. His coworkers are like, I don't know why you're wearing that hat again. But he says, I can hammer and paint, do things with my hands that most men can't. I'm like, I don't know. I think we can all hammer and paint. You would think a guy like this with this kind of work ethic, this kind of work attire, this list of skills, you'd think he'd be doing pretty well financially. But he goes on to say, I can't get ahead no matter how hard I try. I'm getting really good at barely getting by. And you're like, oh, dang, you know? So you get to the second verse. In the second verse, he says, come Friday night, I like to party hard. And you're like, oh, I'm starting to see where this is going here. Starting to unravel a bit of the mystery here. Work hard to play hard. He said, I like to carry on with the Cadillac Cuties. He never really says what that is, but I think we could put it together, you know? I like to carry on with the Cadillac Cuties, spend my whole week's pay on some weekend beauty. I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's your problem right there. I think we can close this investigation here. I'd like to see this guy meet with a financial advisor, you know? He's like, I just can't seem to put any money away. It's like, I'm a hardworking man. I wear a steel hard hat. I can ride, rope, hammer, and paint, but can't seem to put any money away. Financial advisor's like, I don't know, let's dig in. Let's see what we can find. Pulls up the report, gets to like page 1. He's like, oh, found it right here. A lot faster than I expected. It seems here you're spending everything you make in one night on some sort of a prostitute.
Oh my God.
Now Clay, that applies probably to his name is Dusty Slay.
Dusty Slay.
He's really funny. But that applies to a large percentage of like my not so much Stacy's side of the family, a lot of my relatives. The hard
figure out why they can't get ahead.
They work hard, but just kind of struggle. Can't really make ends meet. And I know there's a lot of people that legitimately really struggle right now. But what advice would you give to somebody to maybe like to fine tune some of their financial blueprint and life trajectory?
Well, I'll say this. I'll say this, and I really do appreciate the comedy. It's hilarious. I would just say this is that a lot of people sincerely that I meet who come from poverty or lack of success. I know that I didn't have money growing up. I know a lot of people watching today's show didn't have money growing up, or you maybe don't have money now. You really do become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I'm just going to give you an example. I'll be very vague about this, but this is a true story and it relates to your listeners out there. Your listeners out there will really understand the story. I know somebody very well who their daughter went off to college and raised Christian. That was the background, went off to a secular college, not Christian school, and came back from college with very different values. Got a job in an industry with different values. And now they were just talking to me yesterday saying, I don't even know who my daughter is. I have no idea. Like there's no connection there, And if you take off, the political or what that means, this person is basically denounced their faith and they've denounced their God-given sexuality and they've totally, and they're gone. They're no longer who they once were. Now let's reverse that. Okay. So let's say that you're somebody who grew up in an area where maybe the values weren't great. And the money wasn't great, and the expectations weren't great, and everybody was just a little bit late, and nothing got done exactly like they said they would, and people were partying hard on the weekends or whatever that story looks like. You do become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so the number one first step, I could just say, step 1, do this. Step 1 is be very intentional starting right now who you spend time with, because you do become you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So how do you do that? Well, for me, growing up without money, Dave, what I did, just like you and Stacy did, I got all the Jim Rohn CDs, all the Jim Rohn audio, and I thought, I'm going to listen to Jim Rohn. Every time I'm driving down the road, I will not listen to divisive political discussions on AM radio back in the day to date that conversation. I will listen to Jim Rohn, and I'm just going to listen to self-help because I know that I need to give myself some help. I need to improve. So that's what I did. And then I decided to reach out to people that were very, very successful and beg them or offer to pay them to mentor and teach me. And after many rejections, I ended up meeting the founder of the Stairmaster, the guy who introduced the Stairmaster, the first black man west of the Mississippi to open a bank, the Clifton Talbert. Clifton Talbert was a man who wasn't allowed to go into a bank because he was black growing up in Glen Allen, Mississippi. Then he went on to open a bank. I began to spend time with people like Dr. Robert Zellner, and then it begins to change every aspect of your life. So I would just say step one, if you are working hard, you can paint. You can hammer. You are wearing a hard hat, but you just can't seem to get ahead. Leave the party crowd. Get intentional. And the best way you can do that, kind of a kickstart to do that, I mean this sincerely, if you go to thrivetimeshow.com, we let you name your price for these events. And I can't tell you how many people come in and they say, you know, my life was here. And now it's here. And I sent over a video clip to your producer there. And this is a true story. We had a guy who was working in an audio-visual capacity for some industries, and he thought, I can start a business. I'm going to do it. Now he has arguably the most successful audio, visual, and lighting company for conservative events in America. Audio, visual lighting for conservative events in America. And I think we have the video clip here. In the first 60 seconds, you're going to see a guy who said, you know what, I'm here. I want to go here. And he did it, Dave.
Daniel Cannell, my company is DC Pro LVA for lighting, video, and audio. Our website's real simple for our website. It's dcprolva.com. I've started with you guys. Actually looked, it was 2 years ago this month. Gross revenue has grown 2.5 times since then in our company. Beyond that, we are standing at the door right now of another major push. I can see it. I can see it coming. The pieces are getting into place. So have this conversation with me again a year from now, and I bet I can say the same thing again, that we've grown 2.5 times just between now and then. We kind of exist in two spaces. A huge client pool of ours is houses of worship, mainly churches. We've worked with a lot of big clients in that area. Bethel Church, Elevation Church, Life Church here in Oklahoma, Church of the Highlands out of Alabama. You kind of name it. If you're a large church in those areas, we work with them. But what I always like to stress when I say that, those are fun to work with. Some of our favorite clients are the smaller churches around, the ones that just want to have a good way to communicate with their congregations. So smaller churches shouldn't hesitate to reach out to us. We also do a lot in the corporate space. We work with Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk. I know a lot of your listeners are probably very familiar with Charlie, the awesome work he does. We do all the Turning Point events. We had the honor of providing lighting for 11 of President Trump's stops that he did with Turning Point on the election cycle. Hopefully going to have some more here. And occasionally we get to work with other more unique artists and clients. We've worked with Nitro Circus, which is the guys that do the crazy backflips on the motorcycles. We've worked with SpaceX, Tesla, a lot of big corporate events. So again, I know a lot of your listeners are people that own corporations, run companies. Having events that are presented with excellence, so represents your company well, is huge. And that's a lot of what we do, is helping other companies with that. It's audio, video, lighting, AVL. We made a little joke in our name. My personal background is as a lighting and production designer. So we decided to switch it up and call ourselves an LVA company. We put lighting first where it belongs instead of the tail end. But we do all that. Pretty much anything we're going to have a live event where you're going to have an audience, a crowd, a church service, a concert, a corporate event. We specialize in all those types of things. And we're also starting to branch out into TV studio spaces, corporate boardrooms. I can't imagine a bigger failure than when you're in a corporate boardroom and you're trying to communicate with a client and you're having AVL failures. You're not linking up to
time that we have today. I just want to be super clear. This is a guy, seems very normal, seems very credible, seems like he's not a actor. Daniel Cannell, great guy. And I'll tell you this, he now ends his day at 2 p.m. every day.
Wow.
Full-length interview. He said that he now ends it too. So his first goal was to be profitable. Then it was to build a super successful business. He said then he wanted to build a schedule where he could end his workday at 2 p.m. every day and spend time with his kids and his wife and really sow into their lives. And so this is a guy who went from a startup, that 80-hour-a-week grind, to success, to now he's focused on life optimization. And Stacy, that's the kind of people that come into our conferences and their lives are transformed.
There's no doubt about it. We have met the most incredible people at your conferences that we have developed relationships with that we have today. In fact, David was just on a call the other day with some guys that we met at your business conference, and they're introducing us to some new guests on the show. They don't have anything to do with podcasting, but it was a relationship that we built because of your conferences.
Yeah, some of our best friends met from your conferences.
Well, I'll say this here. If you want to change your network, a.k.a. change your net worth, these conferences are for you. But on today's show, I got 5 nuggets of knowledge I want to get into, Dave, and I'll try to go as fast as possible with limited time, so I make sure I respect your time and we end on time. So
rapid fire. Let's do this.
Rapid fire. So if you're saying, I want to make a shift in my life, step 1, you have to decide not to drift. If you say, I want to make a shift, you have to decide not to drift. What am I saying? If you're in a boat and you're not focused on where you're going and you're engaged in a conversation, over time you'll drift to the wrong. All of a sudden you're going, wow, I'm going to run into the shore here. If you are on an airplane or any kind of aircraft and you're not paying attention, it's very dangerous to do that. If you're in a car and you're not paying attention, next thing you know, boop, 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 you're in the shoulder. So are you in the shoulder of life? I'm asking you this question rhetorically. If you're watching today's show, I would ask you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. If 10 is you're saying, I am where I want to go, and 1 is I'm not really where I want to go. And that could be in the areas of faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, fun. We all struggle in different areas, but faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, fun, we all do well in certain areas, but faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, fun. I encourage you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, point number 1 or step number 1, you want to carry a to-do list. And Jim, this is the big notable quotable that we all need to know, okay? Carry a to-do list. Napoleon Hill once wrote, this is the author of Outwitting the Devil. Colton, we were talking offline about that.
Yep.
Think and Grow Rich. He says, success is the result of the controlled use and direction of the mind. Success is the result of the controlled use and direction of the mind. So you have to have a to-do list. So let me put some meat on that. My father-in-law is in town today. And so we're going to take him to the lake. So my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, we're taking him to the lake. That has to happen. We need to be on this broadcast right now. I want to be here. I'm honored to be here. I interviewed David Green, the founder of Hobby Lobby, on my show this morning. I got payroll that has to get out today. Payroll has to get out. These are things that have to get done. And I could show you the list of things I have to get done today, and it's expansive, and it has to get done. So you got to have a to-do list, because if you don't have a to-do list, Colton, what happens if you try to go through the day producing the Flyover Conservative Show and all the variables, the thumbnails, the titles, the guests, the commercials, all that, if you don't have a to-do list or a checklist of some kind?
Yeah, you can be guaranteed something is going to happen every day that's going to go wrong. Something's going to come in that's going to try to demand your schedule. And if you're not intentional from the start of where you're going, like I have a picture like an arrow. If you don't shoot the arrow in the direction you're trying to get it to, it's going to go the wrong way. So when you kind of start out your day and you're like, these are the things that need to get done, then there's other stuff that you do end up getting done, but it's in addition to the stuff that had to get done. So you kind of pick your things that need to get done first, and then as things come up, as burning fires come up, you can prioritize them based on what needs to happen. But you first started out with, these are the things that have to happen when other stuff starts coming up.
Clay, I'm gonna give you an example of that. A lot of people do really good at this in their life because they kind of get into a monotonous flow. They kind of check the main things each day. But if they're going to go on a 1 week cruise, or they're going to go to a flight and take the kids, we're traveling, usually that day before they leave, or the day they're leaving, they're as productive as like a military operations, like Operation Desert Storm. They got a list. We need the dog sitter. We got this. We got the kids. We got that. They got all the stuff, because those things, they know those things have to get done, or their vacation isn't going to happen. That day could be a normal day.
That's how you live your life.
That's your regular day.
That's what you just said, folks. Play it back, watch it again. That's hot take right there. Now, point number 2, you got to carry a calendar. Napoleon Hill, again, author of Think and Grow Rich. He writes, by the way, I named my son after Napoleon Hill. My son's name is Aubrey Napoleon Hill Clark. It says, the habit of drifting is a form of hypnotic rhythm, which finally becomes permanent, and it fixes the characteristics of the nature and the life habits of those who submit to it. Let me try that again. The habit of drifting is a form of hypnotic rhythm. Again, I'm not talking about New Age philosophy. I'm talking about, it's a habit. It's a habit where people drift. And it's the natural, it's the norm, it's the default, it's what you're going to do unless you're intentional. We are going to drift by default. And so what I do every single morning, and I encourage everybody watching today's show, block out an hour a day to organize your day. Block out an hour a day to organize your day. So when we go to the lake today, what are we doing? I'll tell you what we're doing. We're doing some awesome hamburgers. And you know why? Because we're going to go to Reese's. What time? Listen, folks, I'm interviewing tonight. I have over 20 job candidates confirmed. I have to interview them at 5:30 p.m. 5:30 p.m. Then after that, I'm going to get into the white van at 6 o'clock. I'm going to drive. Where am I driving? Grand Lake. And what? A white van. Is it big enough for everybody? Yes, it is. We're driving a white van. My wife and I, 5 kids, my father-in-law, mother-in-law. We're driving. It's going to be a lot of 9 of us. We're driving there with my dog Davis. We get there. We're going to Reese's. We're going to go to Reese's. We're going to buy these items that are on a printed list. All the items we're going to get. Then we're going to have a great time. Then tomorrow morning, my first coaching call is at 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, then 10. Then at 11 o'clock, I drive to the boat rental place because I have an 11:30 boat rental pickup time. And we're going to have a great time. But everything is scheduled. And that might sound stressful to you, but that's how I get so much done.
Yeah.
You know? And so
I'll say this too, Craig.
And I'm not saying it's
One of the biggest things I've learned from you, and this is a word my wife and I throw around a lot, is the word intentional. You're very intentional about things, and some people hear that and they're like, "Oh, that just sounds so structured. When is there spontaneity? When is there fun?" And I'm like, it's the intentionality that allows you to have spontaneity. Yep. If you're not intentional, then you live in a place called chaos, and chaos is not spontaneous. No one feels safe. No one has fun. Fun gets eradicated. It's eliminated. It's thrown overboard when there's not intentionality. When you're intentional and you're like, hey, these things are going to happen, that gives you space. When it's on the calendar, then you can actually move something around and be like, ooh, we're spontaneous. But if there's nothing on the calendar, you're not spontaneous, you're chaotic.
That's so good.
You mentioned intentional, and I'll tell you, I was hoping that you could see it, but here's the deal. The Whiteds, folks, this just in, the Whiteds have some various plans in life, things they do. They come to a lot of the conferences, but they can't come to every single one of them. But one of the things I'm doing, and this the next time you come to a conference, you'll see it, is I'm putting pictures of you guys on the walls. So
hey!
You're going to see, oh, gosh,
we've made it.
And so I'm going through because there's kind of like, I'm always updating the walls. And we have all these new prints that we're putting out over the office, and I'm like, I want to make sure this goes here. And I'm trying to find the perfect place for the Sasquatch. And there's just so many things you guys gave me a metallic Sasquatch. I'm finding the right location for it. Anyway, it's very intentional what I'm doing. And I sent a video. I added it to the notes there. So maybe your producer can pull it up. It's the Dropbox link. But my son is running audio visual for Metro Christian. That's the school he goes to, okay? Good. Now, just to be clear, if you're watching this and you love Metro Christian, I do too. But let me just tell you, a lot of schools were confused about the masks and the lockdowns and the vaccine mandates. And I wasn't. No, I was not confused. And I knew the models were false and the PCR tests were false and the treatments are real. And so that kind of made my kids be a little bit ostracized by the mainstream community.
Yep.
And because Eric Trump has been on your show and my show and goes to our conferences, I got about a 47% approval rating at Metro Christian. Because I knew that my son runs the audio visual for the football games. So 5,000, 3,000 people come to the games. Everybody's watching the games, prime time.
Yep.
And you can sponsor those games. Oh, yes, you can. And so I have the video.
Yep. She's got it ready.
Pull it up.
It's ready.
It'll be playing every quarter at every game for basketball, volleyball, and football. And nothing can stop what's coming. So here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have none other than the familiar and friendly, although controversial, face of Clay Clark.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
4,000% from February to February.
The name of our company is MultiClean. We have probably grown 5 times.
Hi, my name is Tim Johnson. I'm the owner of Tuscaloosa Ophthalmology. And so he's really changed our business. Our business has grown a lot. Maybe 15 to 20% this year.
ThriveTimeShow.com. Check it out, Metro Dads and Moms. ThriveTimeShow.com. Check it out, Metro Dads and Moms. ThriveTimeShow.com. Check it out, Metro Dads and Moms. ThriveTimeShow.com. Check it out, Metro Dads and Moms.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Every quarter, at every game. Every quarter, volleyball, basketball, football. And I got a 47% maybe approval rating in that place. So every quarter, and it says, because this is what happens. I go, Clay Clark, is he here? Because that's what it says. I can just feel the tension. That's good marketing right there.
Will your approval rating go up or down, do you think? Where are you going to trend?
I don't know. I know this. I talked to a particular person at the school who watched it, and they go, dude, that's going to be crazy. So Friday night, that's when it is unveiled. And it's a thing where, like, they are, they're not really necessarily Trump country right there.
Yeah.
And they're going to watch that every quarter of every game, volleyball, basketball, football. And it won't stop. And so I'm just saying there's an intentionality to it, right? It has to be 66. You can be up to 65 seconds long on this particular thing. There's an intentionality. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to make sure that I got that little clip of Eric. He says, is Clay Clark here? Because I know if you're in a big audience, you're going to go, what is happening? Is this an announcement? Because you're going to look around. And I add on those zings, because it makes you get your attention. It's a shameless plug for the haircut business. And then it's a little rap, with the beat there, with a little Jay-Z, Kanye shout out.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
That is awesome.
It'll work, but it's intentional. And if you're watching today's show, I want you to be intentional. You know why? Because every day you have is a gift from God, and what you do with it is a gift to God. 90 miles an hour, rapid fire. Here we go. Point number 3. You want to create a whiteboard and relationship board. Nobody does that. Nobody does it. Nobody does it. I tell people, I don't know if they want to do it, but and then people say, well, are you trying to make a vision board? You're new ager? No. It's a whiteboard of relationships. This is very, very important. If you were a member of the FBI, they do it. I'm not a big fan of necessarily big, massive government surveillance, but they do it. They want to see how things are connected. And I do it all the time because yesterday we were talking offline, and I'll just be very vague about this. Somebody called me and said, hey, I've heard that this particular program is pushing this product, and I think this product is unethical. It's not good for consumers. Clay, you should look into it. I thought, okay, I'll look at my whiteboard. I know who's connected to who, and I call the people that are on the board for the thing, and I'm like, hey, are they pushing the thing? They go, yeah, we're pushing the thing. Unfortunately, we had to take the money. And I'm going, okay, and I've been able to call and work my relationship board quickly and see who's connected. And I did that with the Reawaken tour. I did that with my DJ entertainment company. I do that with my haircut chain. So you might call it top-down marketing. If you're in marketing, there's a reason why Tesla gave their first electric mainstream vehicle to Justin Bieber, and they wrapped it in a mirror theme. It was like a mirror paint, because Justin Bieber is a trendsetter. There's a reason why Eric Trump is invited to come speak at our events. There's a reason why Robert Kiyosaki is invited. There is a reason why you guys have certain guests on your show. There's certain connections. And if you're not intentional about sketching out or drawing out the connections, let me read this to you. This says Napoleon Hill. The person who moves with definiteness recognizes the difference between temporary defeat and failure. When plans fail, he substitutes others, but he does not change his purpose. He perseveres. So whenever I get told no, I just interviewed the founder of Hobby Lobby this morning.
Yep.
Huge. I get told, and I often, by the way, I've never been told yes by Tim Tebow. He speaks at our conferences, but he won't be on my podcast. What is that? So what I do is I make a list of all of the people that Tim knows, and I'm like, I'm going to call all of them. And Tim has standards. He's got a great wife, a great family. So he rejects me with great authority. But eventually, I work my way in. And Colton, it's so shameless. When I was trying to get a hold of Dr. Carson right before I met you guys during the COVID craziness.
Yep.
I cold called Dr. Carson, didn't get a hold of him. Cold called the person who I knew who knew him, didn't get a hold of him. Called the next person. They said, hey, Clay, well, what's up? Who are you? I'm a guy in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I have a podcast. I'm hosting this thing called the Reopen America. I'm trying to reach Dr. Carson. They go, what's your name? Clay Clark. Clay, you've called 3 people in this meeting.
Just going down the line, man. Going down the line.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Because they're like, how do you know we're all here? I'm like, my whiteboard. I'm just telling you. So it's a powerful thing.
That's
and they
huge.
called 3 people in the meeting. So these homeboys put me on speakerphone. They had a lot of fun with that moment. So that was a real thing.
I mean, like trying to get a hold of my dad, and like you call my mom, you call me, you call Avery. Eventually, Avery's husband Thomas answers, "Hello." I'm trying to get a hold of David White. Have you ever heard of him?
My neighbors Mark and Janet, like I think they're out in their yard. I don't know.
Oh, now, pro tip number 4 coming in hot here. Point number 4, rapid fire. Again, get those tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. We've got 30 tickets left. Thrivetimeshow.com. Block out time for what matters. Every adversity, Napoleon Hill says, every adversity brings with it a seed of equivalent advantage. The capacity to surmount failure without being discouraged is the chief asset of every person who attains outstanding success in any calling. You got to block out what time for what matters. I do not block out time to lament. There's no time in my schedule for lamenting. The other day, I had a very philosophical question that was asked to me by an 18-year-old young man who knows my son. He said, Mr. Clark, I said, yeah. He said, can I shout at you? I said, no problem. He shouted at me. He said, there's no time in your schedule to eat, or there's no gaps. And I go, yeah, it's intentional. He said, why? I said, well, you can't do gossip. You can't do arguments. You can't feel bad for yourself. You can't, if your every hour is blocked out, and I figure I eat less if I'm not scheduled to eat. So I'm just telling you, like, there's it kind of a intentionality. And I'm telling you, a lot of us, we have vast periods of time in our schedule where we lament, we reflect upon Facebook photos from relationships past. We think about the business failures that didn't happen. We're kind of memorializing. This is the 12th anniversary of the time that this horrible thing happened on American soil. It's the 30th anniversary. This horrible thing happened on American soil. Yeah. And every day is just a memorial. We've got to move forward and seize the day. We've got to seize the day. This is the day that the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. Point number 5, and then I'm done harassing you guys. We got to create a life tracker. And Stacy, I know you do this. Maybe you don't call it that. I know you did this when you were raising your kids. But you have to create some sort of tracker, because if you don't, you begin to drift. So when you're raising kids and you're trying to teach them certain skills, you have to track it. If you're trying to make certain meals for them, you have to track it. If you have to get them from A to B, you have to track it. Napoleon Hill says, the drifter never accomplishes anything requiring thought and effort. He accepts whatever life throws at him without protest and without demanding what he wants in life. And I've seen I've seen the kids that you've raised, and I know there had to be some serious intentionality. There had to be some tracking, maybe some journaling in there. I want to get your thoughts on that, because moms it's a 24/7 job, a 7-day-a-week job. Can you talk to the listeners out there about the intentionality that you used to raise those 2 young whippersnappers of yours?
Absolutely. Tracking is important. I would actually, I think a better example for me that I've seen is I used to teach weight loss for many years. And one of the things that I always had my clients do was journal what they were eating, because especially as a parent, if you're a mom and you are making food for your kids, you're maybe cutting off the crust of the sandwich, and then you're eating that crust, never even realizing that you're having these empty calories that you were unaware of. And so I would teach moms and anybody that I was working with, always journal what you are eating. And I found that people that journaled what they ate lost a lot more weight than people that didn't, because, people be like, oh, I'm not eating that much. They don't even realize how much they were eating. So I think that's a great way of really tracking what you were saying there, of journaling and being aware of what you're doing and being intentional.
And I'll throw this out too, Clay. The world doesn't want you to be successful. In your book, How to Build a Successful Business, that Dad opened with there, right there, page 46, if you take off, and you can show my screen here, Avery, if you took off your birthday, your spouse's birthday, your anniversary, the days before and after each national holiday, 2 weeks of vacation, and when you don't feel good before starting your business, you'll never make millions, you'll always be poor. And then you list out all these holidays, and you ask the person who's reading this, and I actually did scribble in there, how many of these holidays did you take off last year? And I'm like, man, it is shocking. Like, we have a relative amount of success. We've worked really hard. We've pushed things forward, but I still took off a whole bunch of days here. And you've always challenged me. You're like, when God set the world into motion, he gave us the model of what it's supposed to look like. He worked 6 days and took 1 day off. He didn't take a 2-week vacation, extended vacations, extended weeks. He worked 6 days, and treat your work as worship. And I think what you're talking about here with intentionality on your calendar, it's really important to put the days on there that you're working and make sure that you're not taking too many days off. Like, you don't need that many days off inside of your calendar. You can work really hard, and 104 weekend days off. I mean, if you just work on Saturdays, you're going to be dramatically ahead of people that take every single Saturday, every single Sunday off by just getting that extra day in of work and spending 6 days a week working versus 7. I taking a day off, but you don't need a 5-day work week, 4-day work week. I think they're pushing out for like 3-day work weeks in a lot of places. I don't think you need that.
One commentary on that, and then I know we got to wrap it up because it's a rapid fire show today. But in 1938, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, he rolled out the 40-hour work week. He was a socialist. He rolled out the 40-hour work week in 1938. Right? His lesbian wife agreed. Think about that. So FDR, he rolls out the 40-hour work week in 1938, and it was called the Fair Labor Standards Act. But up to that point, the world was working 6 days a week. Now, if you go to any college, any major college, they are preaching the concept of the 4-day work week. That's coming out of the World Economic Forum, the 4-day work week. A lot of concepts, even the 4-hour work week. You're seeing these concepts of trying to reduce the amount of time that we work and focus our time on seeking temporary pleasure. But I would just encourage everybody out there to open your Bibles. God gave Adam the garden to work that thing. In Hebrew, the word work means worship. So when you are working, you're working as unto the Lord. And if you're working really hard right now, but you're not getting the success that you believe that you need or deserve or want or are seeking, or you believe God has in store for you, I would encourage you to go to thrivetimeshow.com. Thrivetimeshow.com. Use promo code Flyover Conservatives. But think about this for a second. Use when you go there to thrivetimeshow.com. Don't worry about what the tickets cost. If you use the promo code Flyover, that's great. And that might be something that, but maybe you don't need to use. If you need a scholarship, we have it for you. If you want a VIP ticket, we have it for you. But I don't want anyone to think that you can't afford this. Colton, I don't want anyone to think that they can't come to this. I don't want anyone to think that it's not. It's an exclusive upselling festival, as you referenced earlier. So I encourage everybody, go to thrivetimeshow.com, use promo code Flyover, request a ticket. We'd love to see you. It's going to be 2 days: marketing, branding, sales, accounting, finance. We're going to teach you everything that you could possibly need to know. And I kind of slipped up when I was saying this, but Pastor Brian Gibson, who you guys have met, he calls his church his church. You guys have probably seen his church. It's called His Church. And if you ask Brian, why did you name your church His Church? Pastor Brian says, I built the whole thing because it's his church. That's why I built it. I'm doing it. It's a gift to God. And so if you're out there and you're trying to build a business, for not your glory, but for his glory or for God, it's his business and you're just stewarding over it, I would encourage you to invest in yourself and go to thrivetimeshow.com.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
But I recognized at the age of 15, I'm going, you know what? I am not going to live that way. And so I started a company out of my parents' basement called DJconnection.com. And I decided I am going to have success. And so I reached out to millionaires and people that I kind of knew through church and friendships and parents of my friends. And I said, what book would you recommend that I read? I'm a 15-year-old asking this question. True story. And I kept being told, you got to read.
Hello. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Radio Show. It's an exciting time. Also, I think a treacherous time, a spooky time also. But it's always, danger is a good time. Today, my guest is Clay Clark, and I went out with Tom Wheelwright to visit Clay with Eric Trump also. And the reason I want to talk to Clay this morning is a very important subject called study. And the reason I say that is things are changing so fast, and many people are completely missing the show. Things are changing at rapid speed. Technology is changing. And so I went to Tulsa, again, with Tom Wheelwright and Eric Trump. And the thing I was so impressed about Clay is this word called study. I don't know, you guys must be in your water or something, Clay, but boy, I was so impressed how big you guys are. But what really impressed me was you have this huge congregation. They're all about guys your age, They're on fire. And you start your classes at 5 in the morning. Now, let me talk to you about study here. We show our books here. Now, this is how I study. You know, this is the creature from Jekyll Island. It's on the Fed. And Clay's doing the same thing. We study. So I go out to Clay's place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's built this huge compound out there. And you guys start at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not by Zoom. They drive there. They show up 5 o'clock, bright-haired, bushy-tailed, and all this. And they're on fire. Your group is on fire. So that's why I was on Clay, this technology you tell your group. I was so impressed because, like I said, studies became a bad word. I got into fights in my own company because our staff didn't want to study anymore. And I don't know how they cannot do that. So Clay, anyway, welcome to the Rich Dad Radio Show. That's what I want to talk to you about is how do you do it? 5 o'clock in the morning, you have hundreds of people showing up in your huge auditorium on your property to study. Anyway, welcome to the show, Clay, and what turns you on so much? That's what I want to know. Give us a little about your background.
My name is Karime Schofield, and the name of our company is Whistle While You Clean.
I am Sophia Schofield.
We live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we service the tri-state, so Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana.
We were getting a phone call, and we were like, why is someone calling our business line? That's unusual, and we picked it up, and it was a lead.
I mean, it's been incredible, Clay. We've gone from 0 to like 100% growth. Like we're like a full functioning company. It's great. Like we're blown away at how well we're doing. So working with you guys have really taught us a lot about generating leads and pursuing our Dream 100. So we have a list of customers that we want to market to. And so we've been making phone calls, we've been showing up in person. We're trying to get near the businesses that they would visit if they were visiting like a hair salon or something. And then we start calling them and we just start pursuing them. And then the other thing that we do is when we do cleans, we take a lot of video testimonials and we post those to our website so other customers can see. And then we also upload a lot of images of the things that we do. And so we're also asking our clients for Google reviews after we've cleaned their houses. And so it's this constant like cycle of doing those things over and over and over again. I would say if you're on the fence, go to one of Clay's conferences. They are hilarious. They're fun. They're educational. They're so good that even my teenagers like them. And I would say don't let fear hold you back. If you want to start a business, do the obvious thing and hire someone who knows how to run businesses. If I wanted to get in shape, I'd hire a gym person, a personal trainer. This is like the personal training for business. It has been absolutely amazing. I mean, our coach is encouraging. When he first met with us, he said, do we want him to be like a drill sergeant with us? What level of intensity do we want him to give us? And I will say he is incredibly encouraging all the time. And he just hits the same mark with us every single time. It's very repetitive. But I think we both really learn a lot every time we sit down and have a conversation with him over the phone. He keeps pushing us to go further, and he can recognize when we're afraid to do something and he'll give us a little bit of grace, but that next week he's drilling us again, like pushing us to go harder. Our no-brainer offer is we are offering your first clean for $1. And that sounds absolutely insane. It even sounded insane when I was talking over it with our business coach. And I will tell you that has generated some of our hugest clients. I mean, that has been like a game changer because it opened up the door to more clients, more recommendations, more leads. And we were surprised how far that dollar clean got us.
How important has it been for you to work out that scripting, even though you offer $1 for the first clean? How important has it been for you to nail that down?
It's been really important because it kind of it hones in. so that you're not just all over the place when you're trying to explain what it is that you do. And a lot of times it's like you're a good person offering a good product and you have integrity and you want to communicate that. But when you go to communicate without a script or without practice, it's just like a mess coming out of your mouth, as opposed to having this, honed in practice where you know what you're going to say, you know how you're going to say it, and you can almost expect better results when you do it that way.
Had you ever been an entrepreneur before starting this particular business?
No, never.
Did you ever think about wanting to own your own business someday? Or what was the first time you thought, maybe I would like to open my own business?
Absolutely. I've probably been dreaming about it for about 10 years.
Okay, and let me go to your daughter here. Had you ever thought about wanting to team up and open your own business, or was that something that you were maybe excited about, or not so much?
Well, for me, my parents would always listen to your podcast and business podcast. And as I started listening to them, I started realizing that I wanted to own a business.
It's www.whistlewhileyouclean.com. Honestly, the hardest thing was getting over the fear. It was the fear of the unknown. There was like a cloud of doubt that, you can't do this, you're going to fail. There was a few sleepless nights there when we did pull the trigger and join your team and start the coaching process. Even my husband put a little bit of pressure on me from time to time because it was just absolutely scary to take that jump and actually start a business.
Whoa.